Now let's discuss about JavaScript. Topics that we are going to discuss today are variables, arrays, functions, loops and objects. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a programming language used to create interactive and dynamic content on websites. It runs in web browsers and can also be used on servers with environments like Node.js. Now let's discuss about variables. Variables are used to store data values. There are three main ways to declare variables: where, let and const. Where is a function scooped, and you might see it in the older code, but it is less common today. Let is a block scoped, meaning the variable only exists within the block where it's defined. Constant is similar to let, but you cannot change its value after it's assigned. Let's see an example code. Name is a string variable holding the value John. Age is a number variable holding the value 25. Pi is a constant that holds the value of 3.14159 and cannot be changed. Here is the output of the program. Now let's see what are arrays. Arrays are used to store multiple values in a single variable. Each item in an array has an index starting at 0. You can add items to an array using the keyword push method or remove the last item with pop. Arrays are super useful when you need to store lists of related items like usernames or products. Let's see an example code on arrays. This is the example code. Fruits is an array holding 3 strings elements: apples, bananas and cherry. Fruits 0 accesses the first element of the array, which is apple. JavaScript arrays are 0 indexed, meaning the first element is at index 0. Now let's run the code and see. The output is 0 because we gave the index 0 here. Now let's discuss about functions. Functions are blocks of code designed to perform a specific task. You can think of them as reusable code snippets. You can also have functions that do not return anything but perform actions like printing messages. Functions are key to organizing your code and keeping it clean. Greet is a function that takes a single parameter name. It returns a greeting message that prints hello with the name. When called with Alice, the function returns hello Alice. Functions allow code reuse and better organization. Now let's run the code and see the output. Here the output is hello Alice. Now let's talk about loops. Loops allow you to execute a block of code multiple times. One of the most common loops is the for loop. This loop will print numbers from 0 to 4. The for loop has 3 parts: the initialization, the condition, the increment. There is also the while loop, which continues as long as a certain condition is true. Now let's see the sample code for loop. The for loop initializes I to 0, checks if I less than 5 and increments I after each iteration. It prints the values 0 to 4 to the console. And after running the code, this is the output of the code. Now let's see the sample code for while loop. Here the while loop continues as long as I less than 5 is true. It increments I after each iteration and prints the values 0 to 4. Let's run the code. This is the output of the code. Now let's talk about objects. Objects are collection of key value pairs where keys called properties are strings or symbols, and the values can be any data type including other objects, functions or arrays. Objects are great for grouping related data and functions together. Now let's see the sample code for objects. Person is an object with properties name and age. It also has a method greet which returns a greeting message using the name property. Here this name refers to the name property of the object. Objects help in organizing data and functionality together under a single entity. Now let's run the code and see the output. This is the output of this code. Now let's have a quick recap of what we discussed till now. Variables, which are used to store data. Arrays are used to hold list of items. Functions are used to perform tasks. Objects are used to group related data and functions. Loops to repeat code. And here is the conclusion. JavaScript's variables, arrays, functions, objects and loops are foundational building blocks for writing more complex code. Mastering these will give you the skills to create dynamic interactive websites and applications. Thank you.